Hey, what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with a video. I had to pull over, and record this one because I heard Kevin Clark of The Ringer. The Ringer's like a publishing site, I think. I guess. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but Kevin Clark was on the Paul Finebaum show. First, I've heard of him. Maybe someone out there, if you've heard of him, let me know. But he had some interesting conversation with Finebaum this afternoon, and he made some interesting points. I'm not going to say they were good. I'm not going to... come to think about it, I was kind of comprehending what he said, trying to make sure I understand it. He basically said the process is diminishing. The process is still there for Alabama, but it is slowly diminishing a little bit. And I'm going to come on here and I'm finally going to announce that a lot of people like Kevin Clark. All right. You win. There's no other way to put it. Think about it. Now, Alabama is still the cream of the crop of college football. They're still at the top. Don't get it twisted. They are still the standard. But the gap between them and everybody else is slowly closing in. Honestly, think about it, man. I hate to admit it. I hate to announce it. I mean, they might have 6 titles with Saban, compared to Kirby Smart's 1, compared to LSU's 1, compared to Ohio State having 1 in the last however many years. They might have all that, but when you look at it from a recruiting standpoint, and by the way, we are a week out from early signing day, which I always look forward to no matter where Alabama ends up. It's always great to see new commits, new recruits pick up the hat and choose their team. We'll try to find time on signing day to go live and talk about it, but we're a week out from signing day. Who is recruiting at a high level right now? Alabama, of course. But if you think that there's a large gap, you're mistaken. There's really not, there's really not much of a gap. I hate to be the first to admit that. But think about it. Georgia, it's one thing. Let's use Georgia as an example. I know I come on here. I know I rip on Georgia. Screw it. I'm here to give them props today. Georgia just won a championship for the first time in 41 years. That's one thing. Winning a championship's one thing. But even before they were winning a championship, they had made it in 2017. And even though they lost, even before the next season after that, recruits wanted to go there to play for Kirby Smart. They start competing for the SEC. They just won their first SEC title this year since 2017. They weren't really winning anything. They would make New Year's Six Bowls and win that. They were struggling to get to the next level for their program. They were still recruiting top 3. It's insane. It's the message. It's what Kirby Smart is putting out there. What's another team? Ohio State's always top 5. When's the last time they won a championship? They're in the playoffs, but when's the last time they won a championship? Well, the last time they made a championship was 2020, the COVID year, against Alabama, 52-24. But you have to go back. What was his name? I know Urban Meyer was the coach. God, who was the quarterback? Was it Cardale Jones? Are we going that far back? 2014, right? And they've only made it to the national title one time since then. One time since 2014 have they made it back to a national championship. And they lost it. But they're still top 3, top 5. They're higher than top 10. They're top 5. So basically, to get to Kevin's point, and I forgot his last name off the top of my head, but he's with The Ringer, which I guess is a publishing group. Alabama still runs college football to an extent. right? I know they're not in the playoffs this year. They're not going to win the title. I've accepted it, even as a fan. It's still fair to say that they run college football, right? This is still Nick Saban's type of world that everyone's living rent-free in. But to sit there and say that there's a large gap between everybody else, you could still say Alabama and everybody else. Let's just come down to reality real quick, Alabama fans. I'm not here to call y'all out. I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus. I'm not here to do any of that. But let's just be fair. The gap is closing. Alabama's not falling. That's not it at all. But quickly. It's one thing if teams are going in an upward direction. It's amazing how fast Georgia, Ohio State, look at Michigan this year. Second straight year in the playoffs. Second straight Big Ten title. Are they next? What about them? I'm not ready to say that they're on that path, but, there's a couple teams out there, man. I know Clemson's fallen off the past couple years, but a couple years ago we could have said it was them. The gap is getting so diminished right now for Alabama and the rest of college football. Alabama, how do they get rid of this? Well, there's not much they can do. Kirby and Georgia are not going to go away. Ryan Day's on a good track with Ohio State. The best they can... Alabama just needs to find a way to step up their game. That's all it is. As long as Nick Saban is the Alabama head coach, he is going to be the best coach in the country currently in college football. That's fair. He's still going to be the GOAT. He's going to be the best Alabama's ever had. He's going to be the best in college football. But what happens if Nick Saban were to retire today instead of 10 years from now when his contract's up? Let's say if he retired right now. Right now, if he retired, how quickly you think a guy like Kirby Smart could get to 7 national championships? He's already got 1. He could possibly get his 2nd this year if he plays his cards right. He's on a track. Ryan Day could get his 1st. Ohio State's in the playoffs. Michigan. Who else is in the play? TCU. Well, I'm not even going to talk TCU. They're making their first college football playoff appearance. Congratulations. They probably won't go anywhere too fast, but I don't know. Yeah, I hope y'all get the point that I'm trying to make, though. Alabama still runs college football, but Kevin Clark on the Finebaum show made some excellent points that the gap between Alabama and the rest of them, the rest of college football and Alabama, he made a good point that the gap is slowly closing. It's up to Alabama. It is up to them. And there's not much they can do about it. There's a little bit. Alabama's got to step their game up. I know they're doing great. They're recruiting. They got 2023 coming up. They got 24, 25. They got all these commits. And they're probably not going anywhere. But, they got to find ways to widen the gap so it's not closing in on them. Nick Saban once said in a press conference, I don't remember exactly which one, but he said, everyone wants to be the beast, but not everyone wants to do what the beast do. Kirby wants to be a beast and do what they do. Ryan Day, I'm sure, wants to do what they do. Jim Harbaugh wants to do what they do. Nick Saban does that already. So, I don't know. It's just, I heard it from the Finebaum show, and I had to pull over real quick and get my thoughts on it. I want to hear from you guys. Here's what I want. Let me know if you agree with me about the gap closing a little bit between Alabama and the rest of them. Not that Alabama's fallen off. That's not the issue. The issue is you have all these teams up and coming, right? So, let me know if you agree with me on that. Is the gap closing between Alabama and the rest of college football as college football teams keep getting better? And then, who is next in line after Alabama? Is there a clear-cut team right now? It was supposed to be Clemson a few years ago. But man, I'm looking at Georgia right now. Those are some hungry dogs. Holy cow. Like, oh my gosh. Let me know if you guys agree with me. I hope this makes sense. And Alabama, just do your thing, man. Keep recruiting Saban. Don't retire on us. And show them who's boss. Although you'll have to show them next year because we missed the playoffs. Y'all have a good day.